You are listening to part 17 of the podcast series, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
Law number 17, the law of priorities. The law of priorities says that leaders understand that activity is not necessarily accomplishment. If you have 10 things to do and you prioritize those 10 things correctly, if you only do 2 of them but you do the top 2, you're going to get an 80% return on everything you need in your life. It's very obvious. You do 2 things, you go to the production side, 80% return. Let's say instead of doing the top 2 things, you do the bottom 8. You ignore the top 2. The most important things you ignore. If you do the bottom 8, if you go to the production side, you can see you're only going to have a 20% return. That's why it's sometimes called the 80-20 principle or the 20-80 principle. If you prioritize your life correctly, if you do just the 2 things out of 10 that you need to do, the most important 2, 80% of everything you want in your business, I can tell you this works in your family. If you prioritize your family time right, 80% of everything you need in your family, it's going to happen if you understand how to work the top 20%. Most people don't understand the 20-80 principle, and so therefore, they don't put the time, energy, and effort in the top 20%, so therefore, they don't get the return. Now, there are 3 questions, priority questions, that you need to ask yourself to establish this top 20%. Question number 1, requirement. I've got to ask myself, what is required of me? In other words, I've got to look at my job. I've got to look at my company, my organization, the one that I work for. There are certain job descriptions. There are certain requirements of the job. And I've got to basically say, okay, what do I have to do? Because whatever I have to do, I have to do it. If I don't do those, I'm fired. So it's got to be a priority. So I've got to ask what's required of me. The second word is return. I've got to look at all the things I do, and I have to ask myself this question, what gives me the greatest return? The third word is reward. I have to ask myself the question, what gives me the greatest reward? You've got to play to your strengths, not to your weaknesses. It's very important for you to understand, people don't pay for average. They haven't paid for average in your life. They're not going to pay for average in my life. People don't pay for average. So quit trying to be average. Find out what you do well. Stay to your strengths, because that's the ace. That's what's going to bring you home. If you have 100 people in your organization, if you prioritize them according to effectiveness in your company, 20 of those 100 people would be giving you 80% return on everything you need in your organization. And the other 80 would be giving you a 20% return. You better prioritize your people. Spend 80% of your time with the top 20% of your people, because that's where the return is.